Hi, and this is Mike Garner from MrMikeGarner.com. Don't adjust your television sets, because this is what happens when you get power cuts in Thailand. Absolute darkness. That's the moon in the sky. Actually, it's a beautiful, beautiful full moon tonight, but that's the only light that I've got. Got no idea whether or not you're seeing my face. Probably not, but just listen to that, those animals. You might be able to hear the road, which is probably about a quarter of a mile away, but there's no pollution here of noise, so nothing blocking that noise coming this way. So you can hear the road, and as I say, there's the moon in the sky. So it's a shame that you can't see what's going on here, but there's nothing to be seen because there's a complete power cut. Now this happens from time to time where I live, which is a rural area. It's possible the government are doing repairs, or maybe just something's broken. That blipping noise you can hear in the background occasionally is the fridge just giving its alarm. And I'm now going to walk to the front of the property to see if there's more light there whereby you can see me, but there's not really a huge advantage to you seeing me, because you'll probably just see my silhouetted face. But what I'm witnessing here is the fact that I'm interested in this, because it's quite a rare occurrence. But it's quite a common occurrence here, and I remember many years ago when there used to be a lot of power cuts in Burnage, Manchester, living with my parents, and I'm going back a long, long time. Don't tend to have power cuts now, do we, in the UK? My dad used to have a store of candles. It's very well organised. Here, I think everybody just goes to bed. Sort of, they look up and down the street to see who else is off, and if everybody else is off, well, everybody just gets on with it. Now there's no aircon, so there's no water either, because water comes from the well, and they've got an electric pump on the well that's pressure operated. It's a bit like what do you call it when your gas central heating is? PowerPoint system, where whichever tap you turn on, hot water comes out of that tap, and water is supplied to that tap from an electric pressure switch. So that's not working, so I've got no water, no lights. But what's fascinating is get lots of Wi-Fi problems here, but the Wi-Fi is working, because the power here works on two systems. There's a low power and there's a high power, and the low power seems to be working, so the Wi-Fi is on. So I have got a connection with the world through the World Wide Web, but in terms of everything else, apart from the moonlight, and as I've shown you many times, there's the full moon, there it is, that's the only light there is. So it really does feel like the jungle here tonight. A house in the jungle surrounded by pineapple fields and banana trees and coconut trees and all sorts of wonderful vegetation and animals. And until the grid fault is rectified or the circuits are switched back on, which will happen probably at some unknown hour, and then everything will come on. Probably the television, all the house lights that were off at the time, although I'll turn them off so there's no big surge, but there will be a surge because the alarm will come on and the fridge will click back in and everything will reset. Normally at 3-4 in the morning, which is an interesting experience. But witnessing this and how the locals cope with this, they just cope with it, they just accept this. Nobody's intrigued, interested, concerned. Nobody bats an eyelid. One of the things that I've noticed with most things here, that nobody bats an eyelid. There is a complete detachment and people just accept what is. And what is here tonight is that there's no power. But thankfully, thank God, literally, there is this beautiful full moon that gives me a super view of everything. Just gonna see if, whilst broadcasting, I can turn the camera view round. Probably not. No, if I do, I'll probably cut it off, so I won't do that. But I wish you all good night. I've got an interesting night ahead. As I witness the world, and you watch these Witnessing the World presentations by me on YouTube, or wherever you're viewing these presentations, put your comments in the comments box. Share what you're witnessing. Let's become the witnesses, the watchers, so that as people in future generations can see really what we experienced and what we thought about it, which is more to the point. Because it's all perception. It doesn't matter what happens, it's how you perceive it and how you respond to it. And I'm responding to this tonight with amusement. So I'll leave you all knowing that I'm smiling in the dark. God bless.